Ukulele learners, today I'm going to show you how to listen to a song and figure out the chord progression. Now, this is the introduction to this skill. You're not going to master it in a 15-minute video. It's kind of like asking you to master the ukulele in 15 minutes. But you can get started, you can develop the skills, and you can implement practices that will ultimately help you to do this with any song. We're only going to be working with 3 chords today, and we're going to be in the key of C. Knowing the key makes everything a lot easier. So when you're putting this in practice, let's say you want to learn what's the chord progression to Stand By Me. Google the key first. Why? It's because the key will narrow down the chords available. Right before we jump into this first one, I want you to know that this is a game that you can play with friends. If you're at an ukulele club, you have someone you play with, someone that just knows some remedial ukulele in your life, play this game with them as a warm-up before you play through some songs. It will drastically improve your ear. We're going to use the C, G, and A minor. If that's too difficult with your friends, try C, G7, A minor, and give each of those 3 chords a more distinctive sound. As we are in the key of C, the only chords possible are the 1 C chord, 2 D minor, 3 E minor, 4 F, 5 G, and 6 A minor, as well as it be diminished. But by knowing the key, we've eliminated all the other chords that you see on this chart. So we're in the key of C, and we're only going to be using 3 of these chords today, because again, we're trying to develop this skill. We're not trying to master this skill. We're trying to get started with it. We're going to use the C, the A minor, and the G. Now, if we're referring to these in the key of C, these are the 1 chord, G's the 5, and A minor is the 6. The Roman numeral thing does help. You don't need to understand it fully to follow this lesson, but different sequences of Roman numerals create different feels. One you're going to recognize, for example, is the 1, 5, 6, 4. Let It Be, Stand By Me. A lot of different songs use this progression, and it has a certain feel. So getting used to what Roman numerals go in which orders will also help you with your listening. The minor chord sounds different than both of the majors. The majors sound bright and happy, and the minor chord sounds melancholy. So when you're listening through these 3, what we're going to do is we're going to try to put them in order. And I'm going to play through them on the ukulele, but you're not going to see them. And with your ukulele in your ear, you are going to try to determine the progression. Now, having the instrument in your hands helps because you can play along with the song, but really you're listening for resolution and you're listening for minor or major. In the past, I have done some lessons in this style, playing 2 games I call minor major or minor major dominant. If you're a little uneasy and this feels overwhelming, start with those 2 lessons. I'm going to link them up right here. I'll also link a link to my Patreon, which has tabs, listening examples, all kind of resources for all these lessons, okay? Woo, it's getting a little warm. Had to slip into something more comfortable. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to play our first example. And I'm going to do this just 1 strum pattern of down, down, up, down, up, over the first chord and the second chord. The last chord, I'm going to do 2 strum patterns. So we're going to hear 4 strum patterns. 1 chord, 1 chord, and then 1 chord twice. The first thing you want to hear is if it is a major chord or a minor chord or a major chord. Remember, there's only 1 minor chord. So if I play through this, let's do the first one together. I play through it. Okay, if we play through that, we can hear that the first chord is major, then minor, and then major. If hearing whether it was major or minor was too difficult, I would like to reiterate, I would check out these 2 lessons first up here. They really will help you. That's the first skill you need to be able to do is the chord major or minor. So we got them in that order, and we have major, minor, major, major. Only 1 minor, so we know that that minor chord is the A minor. So between the 2 measures, one thing you could do is just play through it and play G, C, G, A minor, C, C, or C, A minor, G, G, and see which one it is. The other one is, does the last major chord sound finished? Does it feel like the song sounds finished? Let's listen again. No. When we play that C chord at the end, though, it does sound finished. Your 5 chord is going to sound unresolved or unfinished, and your 1 chord will sound finished. So we can hear that last chord, the G chord, it didn't sound done. It didn't sound complete. So that's how we know it goes C, A minor, G, G. Now, when you're kind of doing this ear, you don't have to be definitive. You can test these things out by playing through it, listening through and going, okay, that last one sound unresolved. Let's play. Okay, that was it. That's what I hear. Playing these ideas and seeing if they match is the best way to do that. Again, your song key, you're going to have 3 minor and 3 major chords and a diminished. The diminished you're probably not going to use. The 7 chord, if you hear it, can be a big factor, but you're only choosing between 3 minor and 3 major. So the first thing is the chord minor or major. We're only using 3 chords to introduce the idea, but when you do it with a song, you're only using 6 chords as well. Okay, let's do number 2. It sounds like this. One more time. There are certain songs and certain progressions that I associate that sound with, and when I hear that sound and it sounds familiar to me, I think, okay, that's this progression. This one to me sounds like Riptide. It's because it is Riptide. Okay, so let's listen. First chord, major or minor? Minor. So I know our next 2 chords are major and major. Does that sound resolved? It does. So if we play through this, we get A minor, G, C, C. Again, the G chord being the 5 is the question mark, and the C is the answer. So this one sounds different than the first one, right? You get a chord, and then a sense of resolution. Now, if we play through this, again, use your ukulele to confirm your thoughts. Grab it and play through. What do you hear? You know it's a major, you know it's a minor, you know it's a major. So just try them both. After a little bit of experimentation, you'll get G, A minor, and C. We're going to do one more in this style, and then we're going to mix up the progression a little bit to show you some other ideas. So one more, it sounds like this. So that first chord, major or minor, major. Second chord, major or minor, major. Third chord, minor. So we know the last 2 chords are A minor. What is the order? Is it this? Well, that's what I'm playing. Now, is it this? Or is it... This is maybe the hardest one, okay? Play through it, take your ukulele out, hit pause, and see if you can get it. Once you try that a little bit, come back and we get G, C, A minor, A minor. For this next format, we're going to play 1 chord, then play another chord, then the 3rd chord, and repeat the 2nd chord. So for example, we would do something like A minor, C, G, C. It's good to be able to hear these different chord progressions, and when you're learning a song, try to take the time to analyze it and know what the chord progression is according to Roman numerals, and see if you can incorporate that sound in your listening bank in your memory. So you'll always be able to hear a 1, 5, 6, 4, or a 1, 4, 5, 4, or a 1, 5, 3, 2, 7, 1, for example. The more you hear these, the more you log them in, the more you're going to hear them in music you're listening to, the faster you can work these chord progressions out. Okay, so going with that pattern, that format, our first one sounds like this. Okay, so first chord, major or minor, major. Second chord, major or minor, minor. Third chord has to be the major because we've already established that it goes back to the minor. So we don't know the first chord, we don't know the third chord, but we know 2 and 4 are only minor, A minor. So you would just play right now to yourself, play C, A minor, G, A minor, and then play G, A minor, C, A minor, and see which of those it is. We're going to go ahead and play right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. C, A minor, G, A minor. Okay, let's do another one in this format. Okay, so let's start off. It's gonna sound like this. Remember, second and fourth chord are the same. 1, 2, 3, 4. So first chord, major or minor? Minor. So with that, we know that the next 2 chords are going to be both major, but are they G, C or C, G? So we get go ahead and try to play both of those and see what you get. Experiment with both the 2 possible progressions, A minor, C, G, C, and A minor, G, C, G. See which one you get. Again, we're here in Riptide right away. A minor, G, C, then back to G. And that's where we hear Riptide. Even though it's not the same because it has another change, that chord progression is inside it, which is another lesson to take into account. Sometimes you're going to hear a piece of a song you recognize within the song. Use that information to help you make more educated guesses. Because really, if you don't have perfect pitch, it's really a process of elimination. You're eliminating other chords, narrowing it down, and then limiting the amount of possibilities it can be, and playing through those possibilities and see which one it sounds like. Okay? So that is to get you started figuring out chord progressions on your own. Recreate this game with friends, add chords, change keys. Again, there are lessons that will help you up here in the notes, as well as Patreon. If you made it this far, why don't you go ahead and give us a like as well and a subscribe. Until next time, have a lovely day. Take care of yourself.